Okay, so I just wanted to talk about cliques, most friendship groups that operate like this. Disclaimer, like, it's not all friendship groups and it's not everyone, but it's like the main topic is most of these friendship groups, cliques, aren't as glamorous as they seem. So, believe it or not, but people still behave this way, and there are still cliques or, people who behave as if they're in some kind of. I don't know why cult was the first word that came to mind, but okay, that's a bit extreme. But, cliques outside of high school. Like, it goes beyond, like, college, in university, in the workplace as well. It's like nearly every place I've ever worked in, actually, and I've moved around for real, from, like, let's say workplace to workplace. Every place, there's always been at least one or two mean girls, okay? When I say mean girls, I mean like the typical archetype of a mean girl. Like, this isn't like, why am I saying like so much? But this isn't meant to be like a gendered a term, right? Because anyone can be a mean girl. There are guys out there that behave exactly like mean girls, use the same manipulative tactics, string people along, all of that. But anyway, yeah, every place I've ever worked in, there's been at least one or two mean girls who target me and make me the scapegoat. And I think this was a regular pattern in my past, especially because because I still had a lot of negative past experiences on my mind, at the back of my mind, in my subconscious, programmed into me that, I'd always be left out, or that because I had difficulty with friendships and everything, always felt like a guest inside every group I'd join. That pattern carried on, wherever I seemed to go, until I broke the pattern for real within just a year, like since last year. Since last year, everything changed for me. So much so, I wrote a book about it, How to Survive a Glow Up, which is on Amazon Kindle. So the main premise or key point to that book was I had to realize no one was coming to save me, and that I could be the only one to pick myself back up, and that nothing changes if nothing changes. And that's the number one thing. And number two rules. Every little helps, as in everything you can do to help yourself slowly building up from step A, B, C, all the way to the end, right? Taking things in stages, and also nothing changes if nothing changes. If you're currently unhappy with your circumstances, you need to figure out what you can do to change that, or what you can control, what you can change. But yeah, I want to go back into the topic, right, of cliques, friendship groups not being as glamorous as it seems. So a lot of them, the way they reel you in is they act so sweet and decent in the beginning. They mirror you, meaning they observe you, they study you, they try to guess what your personality is like, and then try to paint an elaborate picture, not judging like anyone who's fallen for that. I have, like, many times, until I realized these patterns. They will really study you closely, pretend that they are like kindred souls to you, either that they'll pretend to share the same insecurity as you, or the same type of experience. Or this also happens in, I'm not talking about, you know how in movies they have the stereotypical idea where it's only the popular jocks or cheerleaders who are the bullies who make these cliques. That's not exactly real life. In real life, there are even those who would be, labeled as nerdy or labeled as a dork, right? They would go on and do the same things, have their own little group and act like mean girls. Yeah. And trust me, I know I've had a horrible experience trying to be part of a group that did present themselves as being, okay, I wouldn't say alternative, not in that way, but being nerdy, if I'd like to say it that way, or having interests like manga, anime, and comic books, superheroes, blah blah blah, all of that, basically movies. Yeah. And in the beginning, like I said, they were acting like sweet, like they understood me, like they were welcoming or whatever it is, just so that they can flip it on me and all of a sudden make me the scapegoat. And before, I used to feel very hurt by this and try to sort of chase for their approval. This was like a long time ago. Like I was still like very young. Like, not when I say very young, yeah. I didn't know these tactics. I didn't know what love bombing was. I didn't know what, like when people breadcrumbing was, all of that. But now I know. We learn from experience, literally. And it's crazy how much love bombing it seems to be so common everywhere. It's not even just in relationships, right? It's like it can happen in the workplace. It can happen in school or college or anywhere where there's a public group setting. Yeah, even online that can happen. So, and it's kind of funny, but not that funny. These are the same types of people who will complain about being love bombed and lied to in their own romantic relationships or whatever it is, right? When they go around and they mistreat others around them in these same ways, but then when it happens to them, oh, woe is me, like throw themselves a pity party, like wah, right? So I'm gonna go into the reality of most of these cliques, right? If there has ever been, and I'm gonna be honest and vulnerable here, right? There have been groups, let's just say that friendship groups that in the past, like when I was back in school, that I really wished to be a part of, that I felt like I could do anything just to be their friends, and how amazing I used to fantasize and imagine how amazing being friends with these girls would be, or these people, like but it's like I'm starting to, and I'll get into this later, I'm starting to believe maybe I was never meant to fit in to any of these groups. I was meant to be the one standing out in a good, powerful way, right? Most of these, think about, okay, celebrities. I'm not calling myself a celebrity before anyone says, oh, you think you're all that, you're calling yourself a celebrity. No. Celebrities, think about celebrities who used to talk about their childhood. They used to say they used to be bullied. They used to say people used to call them weird, make fun of them. It's like most of these creative people have been made fun of, picked apart by others around them. They used to have so many insecurities that they've worked hard to overcome, and now they've put that into their art, into their music, into their dance, whatever it is they turn and do. And the same types of people who make fun of them in the beginning actually start to follow their trends or start to copy them. This is a true phenomenon that happens. It's like the people they're made fun of first because they're ahead of their time. They're doing something unconventional. And then all of a sudden, like, yes, I'm all over the place, but yeah, this is my channel. So it's like with anime, right? 10 years ago, I'm not even kidding, 10 years ago, it was seen as something that, that is childish or is weird interest. It was seen as like you couldn't say out loud you're an anime fan. But now look, it's become more mainstream. It's become like, yeah, even the, let's say, so-called popular people or the normies. I don't really like using that word, but let's just say the normies. Now, all of a sudden, they get the hype and they love these shows. Yeah. So maybe you didn't fit in, or you had trouble fitting in because you were ahead of your time. You were meant to be the person setting the trends, being highly creative, really sharing things with the world, because you have a unique perspective, a unique way you see things that no one else really understood until they understand like a lot later. Yeah. So yeah, next point, the reality of most of these cliques are that this is what the appeal is to them. They present an image much bigger than them, as in they, from the outside looking in, people sense that they are living glamorous lives, that they are put together, they're privileged, they are popular, they know what is cool and trending, and everyone else is seen as being on the outside. And they also weaponize exclusivity and make themselves out to be like VIPs, like no one else is like them, and they are. It's like how cults operate in that way. Is very similar to cliques, to where these people keep a small circle, and then they purposely keep a mysterious image when really on the inside, or looking deeper into it, there's nothing much to them except they are painting an elaborate illusion to really enchant, that's the right word, enchant everyone around them and influence the groups. And being in several cliques before I got booted out, or before people just disappeared, or before things went left, I can tell you from experience that these people rarely ever practice what they preach, and they are rarely ever as good as they make themselves out to be. And obviously, I know like we're all human, but it's like they act like they're so perfect when really, if you get to know them, or you're inside their inner circle, you realize there's nothing to them except illusions. Like they rarely ever practice what they preach, and they will have maybe one or two creative people in the group who they keep just on the outside of the group, to keep them small so that they can copy from them, they can drain them. Yeah, they'll end up copying and stealing from you if they even end up pretending to accept you into their group. So these cliques are very conditional and opportunistic in nature. And they want to appear a certain way without doing the inner work. And they're mostly surface level.